Storm De Beul, a young man whose very name reflected the spirit of adventure. At just 24 years old, Storm was a rising star in the world of survival challenges, outdoor exploration, and YouTube content creation. Hailing from Belgium, his channel documented his daring solo journeys into some of the world's most remote and unforgiving landscapes. He was not only an adventurer, but a storyteller, someone who shared his experiences to inspire others to step out of their comfort zones and embrace the beauty of nature. But as his tragic story reminds us, nature's beauty is often intertwined with its deadly power. It was October 2023 when Storm set out on his latest adventure, a solo survival trek through Swedish Lapland. Known for its breathtaking vistas of snow-covered forests, frozen lakes, and rugged mountains, Lapland is a land of extremes. In winter, temperatures routinely drop well below freezing, and snowstorms can arrive with little warning, turning the serene wilderness into a deadly trap. For Storm, this trip was another opportunity to test his skills, document his journey, and connect with his growing audience. His plan was to traverse the Jokkmokk region, one of the most remote areas of Swedish Lapland, relying solely on his survival knowledge and minimal gear. Armed with a lightweight tent, a sleeping bag, rations, and his camera equipment, he ventured deep into the wilderness. Storm shared updates with his followers and family throughout the trip. He sent videos and texts, often showcasing the stunning yet challenging environment. His confidence and optimism were evident in his messages. But as the days passed, the weather began to shift, foreshadowing the disaster that lay ahead. On October 29th, as Storm neared the end of his journey, the weather took a sudden and dramatic turn. What had been a calm, clear day quickly transformed as dark clouds rolled in and the wind began to howl through the trees. By evening, snow was falling heavily and temperatures were plummeting. This was no ordinary snowfall. It was the beginning of a full-blown Arctic snowstorm. Storm, recognizing the danger, pitched his tent in the shelter of a forested area. He built a snow barrier around his camp to block the wind and recorded a short video for his YouTube followers, commenting on the worsening conditions. "It's snowing heavily here," he said in a text to his grandmother. "But don't worry, I'll survive, you know." Despite his reassurance, Storm knew the storm was intensifying. In a final video sent to a friend, he showed his tent and gear being battered by the wind, with snow filling his shoes and backpack. He remarked, "Tonight, it's going to get worse." Jesus Christ, these would be his last recorded messages. As night fell, the snowstorm reached its peak. Winds exceeded 100 kilometers per hour, 60 miles per hour, creating a whiteout that obscured everything around him. Temperatures dropped to -6 degrees Celsius, 21 degrees Fahrenheit. But with the wind chill, it felt closer to -18 degrees Celsius, 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside his tent, Storm faced a battle against the elements. The relentless wind pressed against the thin fabric of his tent, which was not designed for such extreme conditions. Snow began to pile up around the tent, weighing it down and threatening to collapse it. At some point during the night, the tent did give way, either from the weight of the snow or the force of the wind. Storm, likely exhausted and cold, had no choice but to leave the relative safety of his shelter and face the full fury of the storm. Once outside, Storm was exposed to the life-threatening conditions of the Arctic wilderness. Hypothermia set in quickly. In such extreme cold, the human body loses heat faster than it can generate it. Blood flow to the extremities is reduced as the body prioritizes keeping the core organs warm. Storm's fingers and toes would have gone numb, then turned painful as frostbite began to develop. The snowstorm robbed him of visibility, disorienting him as he tried to navigate back to his tent or find shelter. His face, exposed to the wind, would have been stung by icy particles, further impairing his ability to think clearly. Hypothermia also affects mental function, causing confusion, poor judgment, and eventually delirium. As Storm wandered through the blizzard, he fell. Evidence suggests he broke his nose during the fall, likely hitting the frozen ground face first. Bruising on his hands indicates he may have tried to shield himself, but his coordination was deteriorating rapidly. In the later stages of hypothermia, the body enters a terrifying state of terminal burrowing and paradoxical undressing. Victims often seek small, enclosed spaces in a desperate attempt to retain heat. At the same time, their brain sends false signals, making them feel overheated. It's unclear if Storm experienced paradoxical undressing, but by this point, his body was shutting down. Hours of exposure to the storm had taken their toll. His breathing would have slowed, his heartbeat weakening as his body temperature dropped below what is compatible with survival. Alone in the snow, surrounded by the howling winds of Lapland, Storm's life slipped away. The following day, when Storm failed to check in, his family alerted local authorities. A search and rescue operation was launched, involving snowmobiles and helicopters. Rescuers located his campsite on October 30th, partially buried under deep snow. Storm's body was found a short distance from his collapsed tent. His lower legs and feet were frozen, evidence of the frostbite he had suffered. His broken nose and bruises told a story of his desperate final moments, battling the elements in his own failing body. Storm De Beul's death was a devastating loss to his family, his followers, and the outdoor community. His final messages to his grandmother and friend are haunting reminders of his optimism and determination, even in the face of overwhelming danger. But his story is also a stark warning about the unpredictability of nature. Lapland, with its serene landscapes and untouched beauty, is also one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. Storm's experience underscores the importance of preparation, the risks of solo survival challenges, and the harsh reality that even the most skilled adventurers can fall victim to nature's fury. Storm's tragic end is not just a story of loss, it's a lesson in respect for the wilderness. It's a reminder that nature's power cannot be underestimated, and that no amount of training or experience guarantees safety. The wilderness is as deadly as it is beautiful, and those who venture into its depths must do so with caution and humility. If this story moved you, subscribe to Outdoor Tragedies. We bring you the true stories of survival, loss, and the lessons learned from nature's unforgiving beauty. Stay informed, stay cautious, and always respect the wild.